Hello, everybody. Adam Parks here with another episode of Receivables Roundtable. Today, I am joined with an industry veteran and good friend, Mr. Larry Costa from Capital Management Services up in the Buffalo, New York area. How you doing today, Larry?
Doing great, Adam. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today. I always look forward to our conversations.
Absolutely. It's always a pleasure to have an opportunity to chat with you. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about one of those exciting things that we've kind of been discussing in the background, which is the evolution of the debt collection industry from kind of the third party servicing model into what it's becoming today, which is much more of a customer service kind of oriented type business. And I know that that's the type of transition that you and your team have been going through. Can you tell us a little bit about, what kind of prompted you to start walking down that path?
Yeah, appreciate that very much. We look at our industry, right? We all went through 2008 and 2009, and then in the regulatory environment, starting with Dodd-Frank in 2010, we realized that we had to be a different type of company. We realized that kind of the old way to collect, when we all had, HELOC providers and all kinds of interesting tools, that was not the way for the future, that it really had to take a customer centric approach.
Mhm.
So we absolutely adopted that approach. And while we were adopting that approach, we also wanted to look for new opportunities, not just in the third party space, but in the true servicing space, because we felt that there's going to be consolidation in the industry, that the issuers were certainly going to shrink their networks, and
Mhm.
that we wanted to diversify our revenue stream so we can offer more than just traditional collection services to our clients. So we made some really aggressive moves to transform ourselves from a third-party collection agency to really a full service provider. In the financial services space, we stayed in our space,
Mhm.
but we really started a transformation.
Well, I think that transformation is something that's well warranted, and I think that as collections have gone more digital and we've seen kind of an evolution of the consumer, it's a natural fit to get out in front of that transition. So as we look at, kind of what you guys have gone through to be able to provide that more customer service oriented approach, tell us a little bit about, some of the specific changes that you've undertaken as an organization to enable you to kind of make that transition.
Thank you. Yeah, so we were very fortunate. One of our issuing clients,
Mhm.
they actually had some of their top people leave and form their own organization.
Mhm.
And they came to us to try and look for an organization, with the discipline that we had
Mhm.
to make that first foray into this segment. So we did that. We started our own division with a new identity, because when you really think about it, if you're going to be in the service industry, you don't want the call to originate from a collection agency. So one of
Mhm.
the things we did, we started a whole different division in a whole separate location to really establish its own identity. And that worked out very, very well. And then we kind of really learned what it meant to be customer centric in a true servicing environment. And we took those capabilities and then brought it back to some of our other issuing clients to actually do first party work as capital management services. So by creating that separate division, which we call Center One, that really helped launch us, acquire the skill set, acquire the client base, and then retranslate back to capital management so we can use that skill set and that approach to our traditional issuing clients. And it's really helped diversify our organization. So, to repeat your question, separate entity, right? Separate
Mhm.
location, different technology, all those had to be incorporated to really make this transition.
Well, I think that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like you guys took the opportunity to create kind of a customer service approach, went through the process of refining that approach, and then brought it back into the debt collection industry as well. So you're kind of taking that approach across, the entire organization, kind of both the customer service and the third party collections divisions in order to improve the overall experience for the consumer. But I think that goes back to the original point of really trying to get out in front of the changing preferences of the consumers and making sure that you are providing the level of service that the creditors or other types of services are really looking for. And you guys service a lot of different types of products. I know obviously you're big in the financial services space. I've seen the client list. It's quite impressive. But help me understand, like, even as you start to look outside of financial services, have you guys started looking at other types of businesses to provide that support to?
Yeah, again, they are really in that financial services space, but within that space, there's opportunity to work with mortgage servicing, which is a completely different business.
Sure.
Because when you're doing mortgage servicing, it's a completely customer centric call. I mean,
Mhm.
you're working with people's homes, and
Sure.
it's a very very sensitive situation. So it really requires a tremendous amount of care. We've done telemarketing campaigns
Mhm.
for organizations. We worked in the
Mm.
healthcare space. We help people sign up for Medicare. We work with the local um, healthcare providers. And again, that's all customer service. You're talking about people who are 65 years old. They're
Sure.
about to go from private insurance to Medicare. Tremendous amount of hand holding. These aren't 5-minute phone calls. These are 40, 45-minute phone calls. And you're
Not
helping
quite your
people.
average debt collection call. I mean, it is a
Right.
massive transition in strategy.
Yeah. We do episodic work. So we work for banks where they may have acquired a new customer base, and we'll do welcome calls. Again,
Okay.
it's their first experience with the financial institution, to completely focus on making it a very great experience. So by learning all those customer centric skills, all those service skills, we're able to translate into advanced and enhanced features and benefits for our clients. But we
Mhm.
did move outside the industry. As I said, we went into the medical field, we did some telesales work, but we've always kept our core focus in the financial services industry. And because we acquired those skill sets, we can now use it, as I said, to do mortgage servicing, do customer service on credit cards, customer service on all types of financial products. We do auto servicing.
Hmm.
We actually service auto portfolios. So
That's
again, it's
fantastic. I mean, there's a big transition between, just working the third party, debt collection and being a servicer. Um, there's a lot of kind of differences to the way in which you're hand holding the client. I mean, I think you covered a lot of really good points there. As we kind of look at the marketplace though, and we say, what what's the difference in customer service, right? Like, what are some of those attributes that you're really looking for in terms of the collectors and kind of the approach that you're taking on the phone, as it differs from being a debt collector?
well, I mean, the big thing with customer service is it's mostly inbound activity.
Okay.
So the whole nature of the call is unique in the sense that when people are calling in, they're looking for assistance, right?
Mhm.
So the entire edge of that call, in collections, you got to get by the whole memorandum, the whole verification, which tends to put people off.
Mhm.
That's not the case in customer service. They need assistance.
Mhm.
So the whole premise of the customer service call is that you want to resolve that on that individual call. You don't want to
Mhm.
transfer the consumer. You want to listen to the consumer, be very empathetic, but work out a plan, work out a solution for them that's going to solve their problem. That's why they've called in.
Mhm.
We're in a digital age. So if they can't be serviced digitally and they're picking up the phone, they want help. And
Mhm.
that's really the skill set that you have to bring to this particular aspect of the business. You've got to have single call resolution, which is
It's
completely
huge.
different collections, right? I mean, collections, right? You do outbound campaigns. You're lucky on some of this post charge off debt. If you get 4 or 5% right party contacts,
Mhm.
people aren't really overly anxious to speak to you. That's a different skill set, right?
Sure.
That's more of a sales skill set. In customer service, while there's a sales component because you got to treat people extremely well, it's really a problem solving component. You're there to fix their problem. That's why they've called.
And that was kind of the thing when we originally started talking, and before I'd invited you to come on and kind of talk with everybody about it. The two big things I heard you say that really rung true for me was that single call resolution and getting things done on a single call without multiple transfers and making people, feel a little more confident in who they're talking to. And I always go back to what I call the Comcast model, as a marketing professional. That's one of the I mean, they may provide a great service, but they're one of the companies that gets beat on social media probably more than most. And what I've learned from them is about getting people, one, out of a public channel into a private channel, but also in terms of trying to resolve things without too many transfers and pushing people
Right.
around, because it just makes people more angry and it really exasperates the situation where your single call resolution focus is, really a big differentiator. The other thing was, as you talked about kind of that transition, was the dignity and respect, and how you guys were able to develop that onto the other side of the equation, right? By building out those customer service skill sets and then bringing that kind of dignity and respect mind frame back into debt collection, which I think is really a great way to look at it, right? I think it's one of those, um, it's easy to say but harder to do, and I think from, in working with your team, I've kind of learned more about that. That really seems to be your skill set and where you guys start to stand out.
I appreciate that. And that is, but that's the skill sets required. If you look at the agencies that are left in third party,
Hmm.
that's the skill set.
Hmm.
The people that are left, listen, we had one issuer when we first started, had 25 agencies. They're down to 6 or 7.
Hmm.
So the really good third party people have adopted that position. And, look, people are avoiding calls, as you're well aware of. And, you've actually educated me this on that, Adam. People are using everything they can to avoid the call. So when they do pick up the call in an outbound third party collection, you absolutely unequivocally have to treat these people with respect and dignity, or they're not going to talk to you, and then you'll never get them back on the phone. They see your caller ID, they know that you're calling, and they know what you're calling them about. So by treating them with dignity and respect, that's the only way you're going to come to a positive resolution. And that's what we have to approach it. You're here to help them resolve their debt.
Mhm.
It's a reality, something that they eventually are going to have to deal with, and we're here to do that today. Let's resolve it. Let's do something that's mutually beneficial, that helps you as a consumer and helps get this resolution for our customer.
I think that's fantastic, Larry. And, from every conversation, I continue to learn from you and your team. So I greatly appreciate that opportunity as well. I think you guys are doing a great job over there. For those of you that are not familiar with Larry and his organization, he'll be tagged below with his LinkedIn profile. And you can also visit his website at cms-collect.com. And I'll also put that down below in the description so you guys can go and check it out. For those of you watching today, we really appreciate the time to kind of check out some of the material that we're producing. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to leave a comment or a question below. Larry and I are happy to answer questions. We love working with other people around the industry. And if you are following us on LinkedIn, also check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Our content is getting posted everywhere, and we're always looking for more people to participate. So thank you, everybody, for your time and attention today. Larry, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it.
It's always great talking to you. I always learn so much from you, Adam. And thank you for the support you continue to give our organization. It's a real pleasure and a privilege to work with you.
Well, we definitely appreciate, and I look forward to seeing you at whatever upcoming conference we get to actually go to next.
Thank you, sir.
All right. See you soon. Thanks, Larry.